Peace. What's the word? What's happening, everybody? How everybody feeling on this wonderful Monday? Hopefully, y'all being peaceful, staying productive, staying positive, staying healthy, getting y'all workouts in, eating them fruits, veggies, drinking that water, exercise, and all that good stuff, man. I'm gonna give y'all about 3 to 5 minutes. Tap in with the kid. Let me know how we living and feeling on this wonderful Monday before we dive into this subject matter or this build for this wonderful Monday, man. But before I dive into the build, man, let me know how y'all living and feeling. What's the word? Tap in with your boy. Like I said, give y'all about 3 to 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes before we start this build, man. But what's happening? What's the word? How we living and feeling on this wonderful Monday? Tap in with your boy. Tap in. Y'all see the subject matter for the day. Y'all see what it is. Patrick, peace. What's happening? Beast by Bless Zone out. Peace. What's happening? What's the word? How we living? How we feeling? Clocks in. Peace, my good brother. What's happening? What's the word? How we living? How we feeling on this wonderful Monday? Tap in. You know, we got a nice build lined up for y'all today, man. Nice build. Something that's on the mind. I just want to share the thoughts with y'all, man. Y'all know how it go. Magic, peace. What's happening? What's the word? How we living? How we feeling? Like I say, hopefully y'all taking care of yourselves out here, man. Exercising, plenty of water, plenty of fruits, plenty of vegetables, stretching, getting proper rest, all that good stuff, man. Reading, feeding that mind, you know, all that good stuff, man. Hopefully y'all taking care of yourselves, man. Straight up. If you don't have anybody around you, making sure you taking care of yourself, best believe you're gonna tap in, and I'm gonna make sure. You're gonna tap into this particular channel, and I'm gonna make sure you doing what you need to do. Straight up. But how y'all living? How y'all feeling, man? How this Monday treating y'all? Everything is peaceful on my end. We got some decent weather. Can't complain. And we breathing, so we got the opportunity to make today a great day. You know, so we good. Ray, peace. What's happening? What's the word, my good brother? Clocks in, man. Everything is cool, man. I can't complain. Just doing the knowledge. You know, working out, trying to keep the body in tip-top shape. Always reading, feeding the mind, striving to keep the mind in tip-top shape as well. You know, so all is well, man. I can't complain. Oh, I can complain, but hey, that won't elevate my situation. You know, so it's all good. It's all good. Handling business, man. Handling business. You know, we handling business. Everybody talking about they standing on business. We actually handling the business. Standing on business don't mean you're handling it. You know, so we actually handling business around here. You know, straight up. We handling the business around here. Handle business. Straight up. Clocks in for sure. That's actually something I've been thinking about. Definitely plan on starting up this public speaking journey, which will require me to travel for sure. That's definitely something that's in the works. That's one of the main things on my to-do list. That's one of the main things on my agenda. You know, to get out here, man, get out here and get the message out here, man, and actually start speaking publicly, you know, versus virtually, you know. So yeah, that's on my agenda. That's definitely something that's in the works, and that's definitely something that I will be manifesting soon. It's gonna happen soon. You know, everything I say, man, a word is bond, man. So everything I say, it comes to fruition. You know, everything starts as a thought. You know, so the more I focus on these thoughts, the more I increase my chances of bringing it into physical reality. You know, so that's something I've been thinking about quite often. So I know it's just a matter of time before that actually starts to happen and becomes my reality. So yeah, that's coming soon because I've been planting that seed and I've been focusing on that seed for a minute. You know, so in a matter of time, that's gonna be something that's happening quite frequently. You know, so I might be tapping in the city near you. You know, so when I tap in, y'all holler at your boy. You know, when I tap in wherever you from or wherever you at, even if I'm close to where you at, make sure you tap in with your boy. Tap in for sure. But how y'all living and feeling? Everybody that's tapping in, how we living, how we feeling? Gotta make sure everybody good. Hey, and don't just tell me you good because I'm asking. You know, if everything ain't good, you know, also let that be known. You know, straight up. Be truthful about how you feeling. When somebody asks you how you feeling, just tell the truth. Tell the truth. Because at the end of the day, if you're not feeling good right now, you have the opportunity to change that. But don't lie to yourself. You ain't gotta lie. You know, just because somebody asking you how you feeling, tell them the truth. You know, hey, if you having one of your moments, admit you having one of your moments. You got time to snap out of it. You got time to shift the trajectory of your mindset of your day. You have time. You know, so if the past few hours haven't been the best, it is what it is. Montel, what's happening? Beats by Bless Zone out. Hey, I'm gonna tap in. Hey, when I tap in, y'all better find your boy. Y'all better holler at your boy for sure. Holler at your boy and be ready to build, because everywhere I go, I tend to build. I like to build. You know, everywhere I go, we build it. But yeah, man, y'all see, before I even say that, it's about to, yeah, there we go. All right, yeah, there we go. I have to tap in. TZ, what's happening? What's happening, my good brother? What's happening? What's the word? Hold on, I'm trying to, yeah. Y'all make sure y'all tap in with me. Y'all definitely make sure y'all tap in with your boy when I pull up. But yeah, y'all see the title here. Are you mourning the death of yourself? Like, that's a simple question. You know, simple question. Are you mourning the death of yourself? See, a lot of us, we are walking around, MC Peace, what's happening? A lot of us, we are walking around sad. We walking around angry, frustrated, depressed. And the root or the origin of a lot of this anger and sadness is simply because a lot of us have lost our identities. We have lost the part of ourselves that makes us unique. We have lost that creative part or portion of ourselves. We lost it. We lost it, and we lost it for a multitude of different reasons. Whether it was society convincing us, whether it was our parents convincing us. You know, a lot of us, we had a lot of aspirations. We had a lot of dreams. We had a lot of ambitions, skills, and traits as kids. But as you grow older, society tends to mundane or make the brain, or not make the brain, but society tends to encourage you to become very mundane in your thinking, dull or boring in your thinking. Society encourages you to abandon that creative aspect of oneself. Society inspires you to abandon that unique aspect of yourself. Society strives to encourage you to do what everybody else is doing. That's what society encourages you to do. Society encourages you to follow trends. Society encourages you to, hey, go to school, even if it's not for you. Get this education, get this job. The moment you start thinking outside of this box, outside of this realm, and the moment you start thinking uniquely and creatively, you are frowned upon. So when you get frowned upon enough, unfortunately, most people conform. Man, I wanted to do X, Y, and Z when I was 15, but my parents told me it wasn't no money in doing this. My teachers told me I need to think about something more lucrative, yada, yada, yada. So all of the authority figures around you discouraged you from pursuing whatever it was that you were passionate about, interested in, curious about, whatever. They discouraged you from pursuing it. All those authority figures, the people you looked up to, the people you trusted, the people you respected, told you, nah, that's not a good idea. Well, when enough people like that tell you something like that, eventually, especially as a young bull, you're going to accept it. You're going to start looking in the mirror like, you know what, man, I wanted to be a poet, but all these people around me said there ain't no money in poetry, man. You need to do something else that makes sense, even if you don't want to do it. So now you get stuck in these occupations with these credentials that you don't care about and your heart not in it. So now every day you got to wake. Now every day you waking up doing something that you despise, doing something that has nothing to do with your true identity. You have lost yourself. You know, you've lost yourself. A lot of times it's not even the jobs that we hate. It's ourselves. Like, we hate ourselves. You know, like when you get up and you hate your job, what you really saying is, man, I hate myself right now. You know, I hate myself, like I'm doing something that's not me. So I'm not pleased with myself. So it's a lot deeper than just when you got somebody say, man, they hate their job. Man, you at this job very long. Like when you just calculate the hours that you spend at these jobs on a daily basis, man, you might be at these jobs longer than you at the crib. You know, so that job essentially becomes you. So when you start saying things like, man, I hate my job, I hate what I do for a living, man, you saying you hate yourself. You saying you hate yourself. That job makes up a big portion of you. It takes up a big portion of your time. So when you hate that job, you hate yourself. Moni, what's happening? And a lot of us are only in these jobs because we were discouraged from doing what we actually wanted to do. You know, again, just ask yourself right now, how many of you are in fields right now? And some of y'all might actually be doing things that you wanted to do back in the day. But how many of you are actually doing or like working jobs, have an occupation that reflects some of your ambitions as a child? And I'm talking about strong ambitions, not things that you just said you wanted to do because you saw somebody do it. I'm talking things that you really wanted to do as a kid. How many of you are actually doing these things right now? How many of you are actually pleased with what it is that you do to earn a living? Like happy. Not only you say pleased, like you just 100% satisfied, like this is what you want to be doing. Like when I was working at the bank, the answer to that, I had to honestly answer that as no. Like this is not what I want to do with my life. No, this is not my identity. You know. Now this is something I'm doing for a check, whatever the case may be. But this job's not me. Now, if you see yourself in that industry, that's cool. But this job is not me. So I had to be honest with myself in regards to that assessment, and that helped me remove myself from that environment. I had to be honest, like, man, this ain't me. Like this corporate thing, like this is not me. This is not part of my identity. This doesn't correlate with my personality. This just isn't it. I got to get up out of here. I got to get up out this game. Like it felt like a big ball of self-hatred just slapped me in the face every time I had to go clock in. Like I just felt like I was not being true to myself. Seriously, when I had to clock in at this bank, I was like, man, I just felt like I was selling myself out. I just felt like I should have been in a whole different reality, a whole different world. I felt like I let myself down. You know what I'm saying? These are the thoughts and feelings that I honestly had with myself. Because again, it wasn't my idea. It just wasn't me. It wasn't me. And every day that I clocked in, every day that I went up in there, I'm like, man, this just ain't me, man. This don't represent what I represent. This don't feel comfortable. So I had to exit. You know, I had to exit. I had to exit stage left and put in the work to create the life that I feel like I deserve or that I feel like reflects who I am as a person. I had to start on that process. But I could no longer live a life that didn't reflect who I am as a person. You know, the unique qualities, the unique aspects that make me who I am. Like I can't be in a job, or I can't have an occupation that doesn't allow me to be me, to express the unique qualities that make me who I am. I can't be somewhere like that that's trying to suppress that energy. I can't do it. You know, I can't do it. And the things that make me unique as a person, unfortunately, doesn't correlate or is not accepted a lot in the corporate world. You know, so in order for me to be who I am, I'm the type of person that I have got to be doing my own thing in order for me to be fully satisfied, because my personality traits and the qualities that make me who I am, that set me apart from everybody else, don't mess well with corporate society, corporate America. Other people, reality could be a little different. Like what makes them unique, you know, what makes them them, it can mesh well in corporate America, corporate society. Not me. Like I gotta create my own thing. Like I feel like I was designed to be a creator, you know, to own, you know, to build, to do things like that. Like that's just, I feel like it's in my blood, because I'm not satisfied if that's not what's happening. You know, if I'm not exercising that creative portion of the brain or the mind, I don't feel satisfied. You know, but every time that I'm exercising that portion of the mind or the brain, I feel satisfied. You know, so when I was at these jobs that didn't allow me to do that, I felt like a piece of my identity was missing. Not even a piece of my identity. I felt like my whole entire identity was just about missing, you know? So it was like I was walking around to the point of the title. It's like I was walking around mourning. I was walking around grieving. See, when we think about grieving, we think about losing somebody close to us or somebody dying. Well, you could grieve. Like, we got to understand death happens in stages, man. Physical death is definitely a form of death, but man, you have mental death as well. You know, you have mental death as well. When you lose yourself, when you lose your identity, that's death. That's dying. You know, so I was walking around mourning because I felt like I had died mentally from a personality standpoint. Like when I was in corporate America, I felt like that was the death of me. You know, I felt like that was the death of me from a mental standpoint. So it was like I was walking around mourning. I was walking around grieving. Like I had died, fam. Mental death, because that's a form of death. You know, so I walking around just grieving, walking around mourning. Like, nah, nobody around me had died, but it was me that died internally. You know, the creative side of me. That side was dead, man. Like I couldn't even write. Like when I was working in these banks and I was annoyed and frustrated and irritated, man, I couldn't even, y'all know I got a rapping background. Man, I couldn't even write, fam. Like I couldn't write. Or when I did write, man, it lacked the level of creativity, the sophistication, you know, the thoroughness. It lacked all of that. You know, the intellect, the substance. It lacked all that. When I was writing then, it was just not to my liking because that part of me had died, man. And when I started to realize that, man, it was just like I said, I'm mourning, I'm grieving. I'm like, dang, man, man, I ain't as creative as I would like to be. And it's hard for me to get into this zone. You know, that's death, fam. That's death. So a lot of people are walking around in that state right now. They don't know what's really wrong, but man, what's really happening is you've lost your identity. You've lost your identity. You've lost what makes you you, and you trying to find it. You trying to find it, which is part of the problem. You trying to find it because you think it's something outside of you, when at the end of the day, it's internal. You know, but you haven't activated it or reactivated it. You know, so a lot of us, we are searching for ourselves, man. And that's why we walking around in that state of sadness, in that state of despair, and all of these things. Because we've lost our sense of self. We've lost our identity, especially black people. You know, I had to take it there, you know, especially us black folks. Lacking that identity, man, that makes you sad. that makes you sad, especially when you are capable of doing great and powerful things. You know, when you know you are capable of doing great and powerful things, but in your mind, you haven't reached that level yet. You're not living that life yet. That will frustrate you. That will irritate you when you know you are capable of a lot more. You know, when you know what you're capable of, but your current life is not a reflection of those capabilities. You know, so I had to get out of that mourning phase. I had to get out of that grieving phase, and I had to just start putting in some work. I had to start building and creating that life that I feel like I deserve. Am I all the way there now? No, got a long way to go, but I'm building though. I'm building, and nobody can take that away from me. Nobody can impede this progress that I'm making. And I know at the end of the day, I'm going to reach the level that I have in my mind that I want to reach. I'm gonna reach it. You know, and hopefully everybody that's tapping in, y'all adopt the same mentality. You know, I'm one of the ones, I will tell you, forget these jobs, forget the corporate world, especially my black people. I'm always encouraging us black folks to remove ourselves from the system. Find a way to do your own thing. Man, you got something that makes you you. You have something that makes you unique. Channel that, tap into that, and use that to earn a living. I promise you. In 20, like, this is where the world is headed. The world is headed in a direction where it's going to be very hard for you to earn a living by relying on corporations, relying on these businesses. You're going to have 2 or 3 things that you're doing that you are in control of, that you have created, that you have manifested, that you own. You know, you're gonna have to. You know, you're gonna have to. That's the way the world is headed, fam. You know, so tap in with what makes you unique. They call it specialized knowledge. You know, the specialized knowledge is basically your interests, curiosity, your unique abilities and capabilities, all boxed into one. That's you. That's you. They tell you that the specialized knowledge is something that nobody can be trained for. And they tell you, if somebody can train you to do something, they can train somebody else to do it. You know, so when you're working on these jobs, you got to understand that. If you work in a job where they didn't train you to do this job, best believe they can train somebody else to do this job. But they can't train another person to be you. No matter how hard they try, I don't care nothing about AI, I don't care nothing about any of this stuff. They can't train, nobody can train anybody on how to be me. Can't do it. Can't do it. You know, when I'm tapped in to myself, when I'm tapped in to who I am, can't nobody can replicate who I am. Nobody can duplicate who I am when I'm tapped in. When I'm tapped into myself. And the same goes for you. You know, so when you on these jobs and you being trained to do a job, man, they could train somebody else to do the job. That's why it's nothing for them to really replace you at the end of the day. You know, so you got to tap into that specialized knowledge, man. Your curiosities, your interests, your passions, your unique traits. Put them all together, put them all in a pot, mix them up, and they got what we got you. You know, but tap in though. What are your curiosities? What are you curious about? What are you interested in? What are you passionate about? And you got to go back to your childhood. What were some things when you were a child that you were very interested in that ignited that fire in your mind? Like, you got to go back to that particular time in your life when you was a child, man. What is something that you did that came naturally to you? What were things that you did when you were a child that came naturally to you? They didn't have to instruct you on how to do these things. Almost like it just, again, came to you naturally. What are these things? Go back into your childhood, tap in, figure this out. That's the specialized knowledge. Things that came natural to you when you were a kid. They didn't have to force you to do this. They didn't have to force you to be this. Like, this was just you. What are these things? And how can you piece these things together to create product, service, content, whatever, to earn you this living? Use that creative mind. We got to stop sleeping on the brain being a muscle. And if you don't use it, you lose it. This is how we get things like dementia, Alzheimer's. Man, use that creative part of your brain. Put the brain to work. Some muscle. Exercise the brain, fam. Exercise the brain. Brainstorm on a daily basis. Block out 30 minutes a day to do some creative thinking. Do some crossword puzzles, all this type of stuff, man. Do not deactivate that part of your brain. That is what society is encouraging us to do. Society wants us to be dull. It wants us to be mundane. It wants us to lack creativity. But at the same time, they don't want to that those who are creative, those that activate that part of the brain, are the revolutionaries. They the revolutionaries. They are the ones that create entirely new industries. They are the ones that hit the billions, hit the millions, but they don't want us thinking like that. Because they know at the end of the day, of course, they've stolen everything from us anyway. So they know at the end of the day, when enough of us tap into that mindset, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Don't get more creative than us. You know, so when more of us are tapping into that part of our brain, it's a wrap. The things we gonna come up with, the things we gonna do, we taking back over. They're like, no, we gotta keep them dull. We gotta keep them mundane. We gotta feed them foods that deactivate that part of the brain. Feed them the toxic and dead foods. Don't feed them life. If we feed them life, then they're gonna start thinking. They're gonna start thinking. It's gonna be clarity of the mind. Too much gonna come to them. If we start telling them to fast, man, that's gonna open up the mind. Bunch of ideas gonna start coming to them. We can't have that. Feed them an unnatural diet, or encourage them, persuade them, influence them to consume an unnatural diet. Persuade them, influence them to consume death. Then their life will reflect that. And that's exactly what we have. But we gotta snap out of that. We have to snap out of that. Always keep the creative part of your mind or your brain activated. Always. Never deactivate that. Never shut that down. Never allow somebody to tell you something is childish. Never convince yourself that you're too old to pursue something. Never do that. Like, if anything, that's childish. To think you are too old to pursue an idea. To think you are too old to use your imagination. Nah, using that imagination is going to free you. It's going to liberate you from whatever shackles you feel like are holding you down and back. Straight up, that imagination and creativity, things that they may label childish, no, that can free you at 40. That can free you at 50. That can free you at 60. And I don't care if you at 60 and you striving to free yourself. Man, listen, you never too old. You 60, you a young bull. Free yourself. Free yourself. If you at 65 and you come up with this grand idea, put it in motion. Don't tell yourself, man, I'm too old. I'm 65. What I look like doing this? You're going to look like a 65-year-old doing that. Who cares what you look like? Why are you 65 worrying about what you look like doing something? Do it. Do it. You're never going to hear me saying I'm too old to do something. Matter of fact, if you thinking that way, if you think, man, what I look like at 65 doing whatever it is that you think you look silly doing, matter of fact, that might be more the reason to go do it. Because there may not be any other 65-year-olds doing it. You could be the first 65-year-old to do whatever it is that you think. That right there is how you revolutionize an industry. That right there is how you change the game. Like, man, what I look like at 68 doing this. You'll be the first 68-year-old doing it, and that's going to change the game. And that's the more the reason why you need to do it. Not only will that change your life, that's going to change everybody that's underneath you or that's connected to you. It's going to change their life as well. So that's why you need to do it. That's why you need to do it. We got to shift our perspective. Stop thinking stuff is childish, fam. As far as in regards to using that imagination and creativity, it's not childish. It's the only way you're going to free yourself, only way you're going to liberate yourself, thinking creatively. If you think along the lines of what society wants you to think, it's a wrap. You might as well sign up to be a slave for the rest of your life. Sign up to be a slave. The only way that you're going to free yourself, the only way you're going to liberate yourself, the only way that you're going to reach the life that you want to live is by thinking differently, thinking outside of the box. Like, you got to do something differently. It's the only way. That's the only way. That's the only way to liberation. That's the only way to freedom. You can't do what everybody else is doing. You can't think how everybody else is thinking. And this should be easy, because if we was all tapped in, then we wouldn't be thinking how everybody else is thinking. But they got us all conforming to this group think philosophy. So now we thinking like the group. We thinking like everybody else. But when you separate yourself and you activate those unique traits and curiosities, those interests, now you about to start thinking differently. You about to start moving differently. And once you start doing that, now we got something. Now we got a product. Now we got a product. Now we working with something. Now I can free myself. But you cannot free yourself. Can't free yourself, man, when you out here conforming to society standards and doing what society is telling you to do, especially when it doesn't resonate with you, especially when it doesn't sit well in your gut. You know, when they say the gut is the second brain, they not lying to you. So you got to listen to these gut feelings at times, man. You know what resonates, you know what sounds right and exact, and you know what doesn't. But we go against that gut. We go against that gut because we have been brainwashed by parents, teachers, all of these people that we place the label of authority on in our lives. Some of them mean well. Some of them mean well. They don't mean any harm. They just giving you advice. They just giving you advice based on what they think and what they have been taught is the best approach or the best route or the best path to take. So they mean no harm. But at the end of the day, you are the best knower of yourself. So you, when you are tapped in, you know what you need to be doing. You know what you should be doing. Nobody else should be able to dictate that. Nobody else should be able to control that. You know, so at some point, you have got to step back, remove yourself from the opinions, the advice, the perceptions and perspectives of other people, and you got to tap in with yourself. Man, what do I need to do? What should I be doing? What am I good at? What are my weaknesses? Tap in, fam. Tap in with yourself and quit listening to this outside noise. Quit listening to this outside noise in regards to what direction you need to go into. Be the best knower of yourself. Stop allowing other people to know you better than you know you, because they don't and they can't. Ken, peace, what's happening? Tony for sure. Akuma, what's happening? Chris, peace, what's happening? Blaze, peace. Hey, peace to everybody tapping in. Boom, what's happening? Oh yeah, beach, yeah. If your heart ain't in it, it's hard to commit. For sure. You know, that's with relationships, that's with business, that's with jobs. Man, if your heart ain't in it, man, it's a problem. It's a problem. Like, I don't know about y'all, man, but when my heart ain't in some work, man, the quality of that work is not gonna be the greatest. It's not gonna be the greatest. My heart ain't in it. But when my heart is in something, it's a wrap. I'm striving to be the best at that. I'm striving to master the craft. You know, so imagine if you doing something. Imagine you got two options. Which option do you think is going to lead to more success? You got option A, well, I'm doing something just for a check, but my heart might be 30 to 50% in it. Just getting a check, man, but my heart 30 to 50% in it. Meaning I'm not striving to master this craft at all. I'm just here, like Marshawn said, I'm just here so I don't get fired. You know, I'm just here so I get a check. That's option A. But then you got option B, something that you are 1,000% passionate and interested in, and you putting in your hours to master the craft, and you striving to be the best at that. Man, which option you think gonna lead to more success? The latter. Fam, if you got something that you 100% passionate in, you devoted to learning everything there needs to be learned about it, and you putting your hours in, there's no way that you will fail at that. No way. I don't care what it is. When you focus your mind on something like that, when you zero in on something like that, fam, there is no way you will fail. No way. Especially in 2024. No way. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you striving to be an artist, like drawing, like you gonna find a way. I mean, you ain't gonna find a way. You will attract the ways to make this a lucrative endeavor. You will attract the ways when you are locked into something like that and you mastering this craft and that's all you focusing on. There's no way you will fail. No way. So when you got these people around you discouraging you from pursuing something, don't fall for that, fam. Don't fall for that. Because if you are locked in, if you are that passionate about something, man, you that locked in and you that focused on it, what you focus on, it grows. So if you just focused on mastering whatever the craft is, and how you gonna feel? Please tell me how you gonna feel. There's no way. There's no possible way. If you striving to be the best at it, meaning you willing to put in the hours versus doing something that you don't care about. So if you don't care about something, then you're gonna be just like everybody else that's doing what you're doing. So you are very much so irreplaceable. You know, because you don't care about what you're doing, your heart ain't in it. You only giving this 30 to 50%. So you just like everybody else, collecting a check. So there's nothing that sets you apart. There's nothing that makes you special in this industry. So you're going to be just like everybody else. You're going to be mediocre, average. But when you're doing something that you really care about, you about to set yourself apart from the people that's in that industry. You putting in work. While they viewing this as a hobby, you like, nah, this is my life. This is my life. I'm putting in my 10,000 hours. This is my life. This is what I do. You know, this ain't no hobby for me. This is life. This is who I am. I'm putting in hours. I'm mastering the craft. I'm learning everything there is to learn about whatever this is. I'm gonna place myself at the top 5% in this industry, in this field. Straight up. When you striving to be the best at something, man, like listen, when you that locked in, eventually you're gonna succeed. You're gonna attract everything that you need when you locked in like that, I promise you. So lock in on something. Lock in on something, man. Lock in. Lock in. Find you something. The thing that you are most passionate about, I promise you. I promise you. Give yourself a year, man. Lock in on something. Lock in on something. I'm just lock in on it. Anything else, block it out. Lock in on something for a year. At least give it 80% of your time and focus and energy. You know, you got 20% to focus on other stuff, but give this thing 80% of your focus and your energy. And give yourself a year. And this is all you focusing on 80% of the time. I promise you, your life will change. I promise you. Because again, what you focus on grows. You know, we got to use all these mind mastering principles that have been given to us over the years, fam. Like people have given us the game. We got to start utilizing the game that has been given to us. We got to start utilizing it, fam. We got plenty of material that has informed us on how to master the mind, how to master self. But we not using them. We talk about it, but we don't use them because we have fear. We afraid, fam. You afraid. You are afraid to disconnect from society, fam. You afraid. You afraid. You afraid of the uncertainty. You afraid of the unknown. You have this fear. You know what I'm saying? You have a fear. You comfortable. That's what, you know what I'm saying? You're afraid to be uncomfortable. I promise you. You done bought into what all these folks have instilled in you. So now you're afraid, you have fear. But you don't want to call it that because you're too manly. You don't want to say you're afraid. So you're going to use some type of logic to rationalize why you're not doing what it is that you need to do to free yourself and liberate yourself. Because you're too afraid to say that you're afraid. That's where we at with it. You know, but you're afraid if you're not doing what you know you need to do, if you're not doing what you want to do, you're afraid. Flat out, you're afraid. And it's okay to be afraid, but admit it though. Don't start giving me any type of rationalizations or justifications. I want to hear it. If you're not doing what you want to do in your life right now, it's because there is some level of fear there. There is some level of fear. You have fear. I don't care what that fear is, but that fear exists. And that's the reason why you're not doing what you want to do. And the first step to moving forward, to creating that life that you want to live, removing fear. Because at some point, you're going to have to jump off that cliff and jump and dive into the unknown. You're going to have to make some sacrifices. You're going to have to do it. And there's no safe way to do this. No safe way. So while you sitting around waiting on the perfect set of circumstances, I'm here to tell you there are none. There are none. There are no safe set of circumstances. I promise you, especially for us. We don't have the ability to be sitting around waiting for a perfect set of circumstances. So at some point, you're going to have to take the risk. You have to take the sacrifice. You have to do it. You have to do it. That's just what it is. You have to do it. You're going to have to remove the fear and you're going to have to just go for it. You have to go for it. So what everybody else did, you got to go for it, fam. I don't like when people talk to me, Because y'all know I'm a personal trainer, so I'm in that field. You know, I'm in a field where people make a ton of excuses. You know, literally, my job is filled with a ton of excuses. You know, as far as in regards to why people not eating foods that they need to be eating, all that type of stuff, full of excuses. Full of excuses. And even before, like when I'm screening potential clients, like full of excuses. Oh man, I used to work out back when I was in school, and then this happened, so I just, man, my kids went to blaming their kids, blaming everything for why they fell off. No, you fell off because you fell off. Don't be blaming the kids. Don't be blaming the job. Don't be blaming getting married. Don't do that. Don't do that. So I literally have a job where I hear excuses all the time. I hear lack of accountability all the time. Fam, it ain't nobody else's fault why you got out of shape. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff sounds cool, but it's on you though. So I'm glad you in here trying to take the next step, but don't be blaming other folks. Don't be blaming other folk for why you not doing what it is you need to be doing and want to do. You know, again, what we say is you want to do something bad enough, you're going to find a way to do it. That's real, and that's the real deal, Holyfield. If you want to do something bad enough, you will find a way to make it happen. When you want to go on that vacation, or when you want to go on that trip or that cruise, you're going to find a way to make it happen. You're going to find a way to get the funds. You know what I'm saying? You're going to find, when you want to go to that concert, you're going to find a way to get the funds. You're going to find a way to get the funds, man. You know, when you want to go across the country, you're going to find a way to have them funds, man. When you want to splurge out on certain clothes and shoes, you're going to find a way to have them funds. I worked in banking also, so I saw this. You know, I saw people, when it came to things they want to do, as far as that, they did it. They found a way to make it happen. They found a way. Man, we going on this cruise, man. I'm broke, but I'm going to find a way to have these funds for this cruise. I'm going to find a way. Man, I ain't really got the money for these $200, $300 shoes, but God, I'm going to find a way. Man, you better apply that to every and anything in your life. Not just material objects and not just cruises and things like that. Man, apply that to everything. Apply that mentality to everything in your life. Find a way to do it. Find a way to make it happen. The best way to find a way is to focus on it. The more you focus on something, the more you will attract ideas to you that will help push you forward towards the goal. But if you do not spend time focusing on the mission, focusing on the objective, focusing on the goal, focusing on whatever you want to phrase it up as, you do not spend enough time focusing on it, it's not going to happen for you. So you got to sacrifice some time. You got to sacrifice quality time so you can sit with these goals, fam. So you can sit with that imagination, so you can visualize this life. You know what I mean? Like, you got to visualize it. You got to see it before it happens, fam. But if you're not spending time out of your day doing these things, man, then guess what? Guess what your life will be a reflection of? Utter disappointment. Carve out that time, fam. You carve out time to scroll on social media. You carve out time to write on social media, but you don't have the time to visualize your future. You know what I mean? You don't have the time. You don't have the time to see things before you actually have them. You don't have the time to do that. You don't have the time to meditate. You don't have the time to shut off that conscious portion of your mind or your brain and tap into that subconscious where all the ideas are at. You don't have time to do that. But you got time to scroll on social media. You got time to read every post on social media. You got time to tell me every ounce of news you saw on social media. You got time to tell me about all these TikTok videos. But you don't have time to visualize. your future. You don't have time to see this life before you actually attain it. You don't have time to do that. When that could be about 5-10 minute exercise each way. You don't have time to brainstorm. You don't have time to set a 30-minute timer on your phone and start brainstorming ideas for 30 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. You don't have time to do that. But then if I type in this phone, it's gonna come up quickly. If I type in this phone, let me see what number comes up. Let me see what's the hours. Let me see. The typical internet user spends almost 2.5 hours each day using social media platforms, equating to more than 1/3 of our total online time. 2.5 hours each day. The typical internet user, 2.5 hours each day. You mean to tell me those 2.5 hours that you are spending each day, if you use that 2.5 hours each day and spent that time bettering yourself and manifesting your goals and bringing your thoughts into fruition, that wouldn't change the game for you? Come on, man, stop playing. 2.5 hours a day, what the typical internet user spends on social media. So when you tell me you don't have time to think creatively, when you don't have time to focus on your goal, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it. MT, what's happening? Shakir, peace. Peace, what's happening? LG, peace, what's happening? Jay Williams, peace, what's happening? The fight was all bad. You know what I'm saying? Y'all already know I always be rooting for the brother man. So that was all bad. You know? But yeah, 2.5 hours, you got the time. We all got the time. And I don't even care if you think you only got 20 minutes a day to do this, which that's a lie. But if you got 20 minutes a day, use that 20 minutes. If you feel like you only got 20 minutes a day to do what I'm telling you to do, use that 20 minutes then. Use that 20 minutes. Whatever time you feel like you have, man, if you are wasting the little time that you have, then you don't deserve more time. Because you just gonna waste that. See, a lot of times when we make excuses, fam, this is what I've come to understand. And I've read this more than enough in books and things like that, man. But this just came based on my understanding and observation. We make these excuses when in reality, a lot of us are just lazy and we don't want to change. If you say, man, I don't have enough time to whatever it is, to exercise, think creatively, whatever the case may be. When you examine this person and their time thoroughly, what you will realize is they are wasting the little time they do have. Or they may not have as little of time as they are telling you that they have. But the whole point is they are wasting whatever time that they do have, they're wasting it. So then when you give a person, like that person is not worthy of having more time because they just gonna waste it. So you got to make yourself worthy of having more time by maximizing and utilizing the little time that you do have more efficiently. So when you utilize and maximize the little time that you do have right now, you will open up the doors for more time. You will become more deserving of having more time. But if you can't use your time right now that you have wisely, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve it, fam. You do not deserve more time. If you can't maximize the little time that you think you have now, you don't deserve more time because you're just gonna waste that. Gonna waste that time too. So if you think you got 30 minutes a day to do these things and you're not using that 30 minutes constructively and wisely, why do you think you deserve an hour? I've seen people say things like, man, I just need a vacation. I just need a week off and then I'm gonna get things together. I just need some time off. Then they get the time off and guess what they did? Absolutely nothing. They wasted the whole time they had off. And then they start saying things like, man, a week ain't long enough. I done seen this, fam. It's all observation. I've seen it. I've watched it. Like, I just give me a week off and then I do all this and yada, yada, yada. They get the week off, they get the time off. They've made no progress. Because that's not what you needed. You didn't need time off. You didn't need 7 days off. What you needed to do was reprogram your mind, shift your mindset, shift your perspective. That's what you needed to do. You didn't need more time. Lack of time is not your problem. It's your mindset that's the problem. That's your mindset. So when people start saying a lack of time is their problem, you give them more time, guess what they're going to do? They're going to misuse that time, because a lack of time is never the problem. There is nobody on the planet right now that's not where they want to be because of a lack of time. I promise you, a lack of time is not the problem, because there's somebody who's doing what you want to do that had less time than you currently have, and they still made it happen. Lack of time is not the problem. And I don't care what you say. I don't care how much time you think you have or don't have. Lack of time is not your problem. What the problem is, how you are using the time that you have. Efficiency. These are your problems. Focus, concentration. These are your problems, not lack of time. Because I've seen too many people that attribute or credit lack of time to their failures, to their reasoning behind why they're not doing something. I've seen them get more time. So if a person wastes 30 minutes, they're going to waste an hour and 30. Straight up. Straight up, fam. I'm trying to tell you. This is reality. Lack of time ain't your problem. Lack of time is never the problem. The problem is how you are using the time that you have. I guarantee you that you are not using that time efficiently. We got to understand the difference between efficiency and productivity. Yeah, you might be spending time doing a bunch of things, but you're not efficient with what you are doing. So you could be doing it. You could have an 8-hour block, or you could have a 2-hour block, and you could get a lot so-called done in 2 hours. But what's the quality? What's the quality of the work that's being done? So it's a difference between being productive and being efficient. A lot of us are not efficient with our time, but we do a bunch of BS during the time. We do a bunch of stuff, but we're not efficient with what we are doing. That's the difference. Strolling on social media, that's doing something. That's doing something. That's doing something. You might have came across some news on social media. That's being productive. You came across the news. The news let you know a little something. Efficiency is a little bit different. You know, efficiency deals with quality. You know, within this 2-hour window, man, I did this one thing, but I did this one thing great. I did this one thing great versus in the same 2-hour block, I was doing 2 things, but I ain't complete nothing. I ain't complete anything. I was doing 2 things. I was doing 10 things in this 10-hour block or this 2-hour block. I completed nothing. I completed absolutely nothing. But then for 2 hours, I locked in on this one thing, this one task, killed it with precision, great quality. Versus 10 things, I only was able to give each of the 10 50% of my efforts, and I didn't complete anything, or I might have completed 1 or 2 of the things. And those 1 or 2 things that I completed, since I was only able to give it 40 or 50% effort, concentration, and focus, the quality is kind of garbage. Nah, man. Got to be efficient with that time. Got to be efficient with your time, fam. Straight up. Efficiency is key out here. Sean, man, hey, I'm trying to tell you, short attention spans galore. Short attention spans galore, fam. And it's tragic and it's sad. People don't know how to focus. People don't know how to concentrate. People don't know how to lock in, whether it's for 20 minutes, whether it's for an hour. You'll be surprised at what you can accomplish by locking in for 20 minutes with no distractions. You'll be surprised. You can get a lot done in 20 minutes. And when you master 20 minutes, now that's going to open the door for you to be able to have 40 minutes. So it's creating more opportunity for you to have more time. When you master that little 20 minutes that you have, all of a sudden you're going to see, man, I mastered 20 minutes. Now I got 40 minutes to do this. When you master 40 minutes, when you master being efficient in that 40-hour window, now all of a sudden it didn't hit an hour. Now you got an hour because you mastering your time. You're becoming more efficient. So that's opening more opportunities because you become more deserving of a longer window to get things done because you are being more efficient with the time that you have currently. Straight up. So master your current set of circumstances. in your current amount of time first. That's the only way that you're going to open up having more time. So you got to make yourself deserving of all of these so-called excuses, you know, that you're making. Lack of time. I need a bigger space. I need a bigger, like, listen, man, you like master where you at, master what you have now. And once you do these things, all this other stuff is going to come to you. But if you fail to master where you are at now, you don't deserve all this other stuff that you think you deserve. Because you mistreating what you currently have now. You abusing what you currently have now. You neglecting what you currently have now. So learn to master your current set of circumstances and watch how that opens the door for better circumstances, better conditions, better things, better ideas, more time, better quality of living. That's how the game goes. That's how the mind works. Again, they've given us the game. They've given us the techniques. Utilize them. Utilize them, fam. But y'all, man, with that being said, man, I got to tap out, got to head to this gym, you know. So I wanted to tap in, give y'all this build. I know y'all took some jewels away from it. If not, oh well, it is what it is, man. You know, but I appreciate y'all tapping in as always. I'm going to make my moves, make this smoothie, hop in the shower, head to the gym, let y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Monday. Hey, I'm going to tap in when I tap in, man. Y'all be easy, though. I'm out. Peace.